I would like to advise all those present that notice of this regular meeting of the Municipal Council of the City of Bayonne for September 18, 2024, has been provided to the public in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of time and place of the meeting has been included in the annual notice of meetings, which was posted and filed with the city clerk and with the Jersey Journal and the Star Ledger. An additional notice of time and place was posted and filed with the city clerk and was forwarded to the Jersey Journal and the Star Ledger by fax and regular mail on September 13, 2024. The regular meeting of the Municipal Council is now in session. Ms. Medina, please call the roll.
Mr. Booker?
Here.
Mr. Carroll?
Here.
Mr. Perez?
Here.
Ms. Weimer is absent. Mr. La Palusa?
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item, 01, is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 33, Planning and Development Regulations, and Chapter 35, Zoning Regulations, which was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held July 17th, was published in the Jersey Journal and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following the public hearing at the meeting of August 14th, and was postponed to this meeting of September 18th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution giving the ordinance second reading is moved by Councilmember Perez. Who'd like to second?
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 33, Planning and Development Regulations, and Chapter 35, Zoning Regulations. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
So moved.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
02 is a resolution postponing an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 4, licensing, registration, and business registration to the meeting of October 16, 2024. Who'd like to move it?
Move it.
Second.
And I have to double back for 1 minute and have a resolution for final passage on 01. Who'd like
Move
to-
it? Is that, you want to move?
For final passage, yes.
All right, move.
Second.
Got ahead of myself today. And on the resolution for final passage, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Now on 02, which is moved by the council president and seconded by Councilmember Perez. On that motion to postpone, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
03 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances, Chapter 15, Building and Housing, which was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held August 14th, was published in the Jersey Journal and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of September 18th, and is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution moved by the council president giving the ordinance second reading. Who'd like to second?
Second.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances, Chapter 15, Building and Housing. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
Move it.
Second.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Move it.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
04 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic, which was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held August 14th, was published in the Jersey Journal and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of September 18th, and is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And the resolution is moved by Council President. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic.
Move it.
No, that was second reading. So the council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. And I'll take a motion to close.
Move it.
Second.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Move it.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
05 is also amending and supplementing Chapter 7 Traffic. And the resolution moved by Councilmember Perez, given the ordinance second reading. Who'd like to second it?
Second.
And on the second reading, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. I'll take a motion to close.
So moved.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
So moved.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
First speaker is Mr. Gene Perry.
Good evening, Council. Gene Perry, 77A Hobart Avenue, and I'm here to speak to you regarding the property known as ERW Metal, and Bayonne Durable. I lived in the city of Bayonne for just over 60 years, in which 54 of them have been in the Bergen Point section referred to as God's country. Growing up with a small town feeling and friends that would be there my entire lifetime was what made Bayonne special. The one negative of Bayonne was all the industrial businesses and environmental obstacles that came with it. Standard Oil at one time in the 1900s employed over 6,000 Bayonne residents. We also had Texaco, ICI, Samson Tank Cleaning, Cass Chem, Ken Rich, Coastal Oil, just to name a few. Although these companies were large employers of Bayonne residents, environmental awareness grew as time grew on. So did the concern of the residents' health. Per an October 3rd, 2022 report, which I've given to the city clerk, there were 65,000 residents in Bayonne and 671,000 in Hudson County. The DEP estimated that 428 Bayonne residents were at risk of cancer in the year 2017, but only 432 in Hudson County. Big number differential. And the report has a 95% confidence level. Also, the same data summary I provided to the council shows there were 0 scrap yards per 0 square miles in the city of Bayonne on October 3rd of 2022. So here we go in the 21st century, knowing all regarding cancer, asthma, heart disease, to name a few, that could be caused by the quality of life. Metal scrapyard is caused at 82/85 East 2nd Street, because it does have 2 addresses, owned by the Durable Construction and operated by the EMR Group. The EMR Group began their operation in the second half of 2023. I began writing the council January 1st of 2024. For those who don't live in the area, one might think we are just whiners. But let me ask you, how would you feel as a homeowner or a tenant when you can't open your windows up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because all you have is noise and scrap metal being blown into your house? You have to wash your car every day, clean your sidewalks every day. On July 17th, I received a phone call, I was traveling, that the barge they used to transport the scrap metal from point A to point B was sank in the water because they used too much weight, whatever they did to it. The barge is still being raised. Yet on September 13th, the Hudson County Environmental Department had no record of this incident, neither did the state of New Jersey. On September 11th, there was a 2-alarm fire at the same facility that was issued 7 violations in September of 2023 that have still not been corrected. I was initially advised by the City Council in June 2024 that this scrapyard was grandfathered in and has always been there. I'm still reviewing that. We'll debate that another day of the week. I would like to ask the City Council to provide the proof of the licensing, what was lost during Sandy, because we all know we lost Brady's Dock during Sandy. Having 90% of my life down 4th Street and speaking of some of the older residents, no one seems to recall this. As the council continues to approve new developments to bring in new residents, the city will start losing some of the homegrown residents that will be moving out or dying because of the air pollution that we're getting from the scrap metal yard downtown. There is a saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same results. As educated people, we know that breathing these toxins are not good for the body, yet the council says nothing can be done. I'm pleading with your sense of intelligence to please figure this out and get this plant in line with what we need in this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Anthony?
Good evening. My name is Anthony Inciarano. I had applied for a taxi driver's license. I was denied and had not received any response for my appeal request. I was advised to go to the city clerk's office where Ms. Medina told me that I should come to this meeting. So short and sweet, I just wanted to hopefully resolve that. Maybe deliver my letter, which had never been received, a copy of which I have with me, or just let you know so that way I can get a hearing date if possible.
Okay. Did you contact anybody about that, to get an appeal?
I spoke to the ABC office. I was told to send a letter to the city council. I guess when I came back after I hadn't received a response and they had told me to approach the city clerk's office, maybe that was the mistake. Maybe it should have been sent to the city clerk's office instead. And so.
They can always distribute to us as well, if it's your request in your letter.
Right, yeah, well, I had brought the copy and they told me that it was out of their hands and to speak to the city clerk's office, so I just wanted to hopefully expedite that, at least let you know, and if possible, even get a date, because I know Archie's is still looking for drivers, so.
Okay. I don't know the particulars about your denial or whatever, but
Right.
we should at least be able to try and get you some sort of an answer and hopefully get you an appeal process or at least a second meeting.
Yes.
So if you could leave your information with the clerk, if she has it already, she could forward it to me and I'll get in touch with you.
I can give
and
it to
try and
her
get
right
that
now.
done.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Madeline, you have that already? or-
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
Just give him a minute. Yes, please. Yes, got it, thank you.
Thank you.
Rich,
Oh, okay.
Rich? Yes, you're Rich?
How we doing? Rich Metelsky here, 87 West 3rd. I'd like to speak on the subject of the ferry. Can I do that?
Sure.
Now, I'm pro-ferry. I'm on the ferry all the time. My number one way to get to New York City. My question is, and then I'll make a statement. My question is, being the ferry's back in the news, why are we going with the C Streak and not the New York Waterway? Now, the New York Waterway, as we know, services, for anybody who's not familiar with the ferries, services Jersey City, Hoboken, Weehawken, Edgewater. Do you see the pattern? And they just added South Amboy. The C Streak services the Highlands, Atlantic Highlands, Belford, Sandy Hook. The C Streak will also take you to Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. Why don't we go, I mean, I don't know the process. Do we go to the ferry company? Do they come to us? How does the deal get made? But the New York Waterway is like the cockroach of the river. It's all over. You can't get rid of it. Every time you look around, you see one. Why are we going with the C Streak that has a bar, has a serves food, and is 3 times the size of the Waterway? Can anybody explain how we go with the C Streak?
Do you have more to add, and we'll answer at the end?
Excuse me?
Do you have more to add, and we'll answer at the end?
No, if I
You
have...
and I spoke last weekend, and I told you it's not question and answer.
Yeah.
But in
Okay,
this case,
listen.
I'm going to allow an exception.
I just want to put it on the record.
Sure.
We'll talk another time if you want.
No.
I
We're
don't
gonna answer
want to
it
hang
now.
around. I'm not going to hang around.
No.
But listen, I'm going to...
I can answer your question very quickly.
Yeah, it's very quick. So-
Okay, C Streak responded to an RFP 4 years ago for this. That RFP has to be reissued, okay?
I know, I read that.
Okay, so we didn't choose C Streak.
They chose us.
No. We chose them 4 years ago because we felt that they had the best product to offer.
But they're a long-distance ferry.
We have to go out for RFP again because that RFP has expired.
All right.
So you can't, I understand you believe that New York Waterways is a better short trip.
Yeah.
But if they provide a better answer in the RFP, while they do the long runs and long trips, this is going to be a different type of ferry service in that you're not going to have a kiosk. It's going to be a short run. There's no doubt about it. But whoever has the best.
Why not use the short ferry? The ferry that's made for the short run.
Who's to say that C Streak doesn't have a short
Plus,
ferry?
I'm just told you their routes.
Who's this? Who's
Maybe they're starting a new one.
Four years ago, they responded to an RFP and had a short ferry.
Bro, I just want to get it on, so when I talk to people on the street, they say to me, well, go ask the councilor. So I'm going to compare this in a way to our bike share program. It reminds me of the same thing. We didn't go with City Bike, which everybody else had. We went with an independent company, and it folded, which I called from day one. City Bike, we could have used our bikes in Staten Island, Manhattan, Jersey City, Hoboken. We could have used our memberships in different towns. We could have taken a bike from here to Staten Island, Manhattan, switched out. We went with an independent company, like the C Streak.
I don't
You know what I'm
remember.
saying?
I don't remember getting a submission by City Bike.
Huh?
I don't remember getting.
Well, I don't know the process, but
The process
that's
is
what we wanted.
we put out a request. It's
So
called an RFP. We put out a request and we say, hey, everybody, give us your ideas about servicing the city of
All right.
Bayonne. My recollection is that City Bike didn't want to have anything to do with Bayonne because it's really not a bike-friendly community.
But we could have swapped with other towns.
But if they don't come here and offer to do their wares here, it doesn't matter.
So in other words, I thought Bayonne was the greatest town in America.
It is, but not for bikes.
It is.
And maybe not for ferries either.
Well,
we
don't-
know
we're gonna
that.
find-
We
we're
know
gonna
that from
find-
experience.
We're going to find that out.
We know that from experience.
Oh, we know we did.
Melissa?
Melissa Godesky Rodriguez, 148 Avenue F. Okay, it'll get to the point where I'm going, okay? So Andrew Jerome Washington, Lyndon Cameron, Ryan Gaynor, Yang Yang, and Michelle Coso. It's estimated that 20% of police calls for service involve mental health or substance abuse calls. My son is Dante. He is 15. He is smart. He is loving. He is caring. He's empathetic. He's kind, accepting, funny, and resilient. Most of all, he is Dante. Dante also has autism, ADHD, OCD, anxiety, and multiple medical diagnoses, some that are life or death for him. I've had 2 separate experiences with our police department and our EMS, and I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for the level of professionalism and heart that they showed to my family in a difficult time. So my first thought was, will my son be shot? Nothing against Bayonne PD, by the way. It's just because I know those names. Will my son be hurt? Will he be tackled? What's going to happen when I call PD because I need help? The first time was a bit rough. I did need to provide some information and guidance when they showed up to my house. 3 cop cars, multiple officers. They listened, they respected me, they respected my family. I think they allowed me to educate them, which is always a really nice thing. The second time went much smoother. The officers that came, all that was needed was 2. They listened to my concern and again behaved in a way that Bayonne should be very, very proud of. The reason I called for assistance is because my son was in the middle of a meltdown. He could not regulate. He was angry. He was upset. He became physical to a point that myself and my husband could no longer handle as we were worried about his safety and ours. The above-named individuals are literally only a handful of humans hurt or killed by officers in the middle of a health crisis, mental health crisis, or with an autism diagnosis. I am here today representing the families that have had to call and didn't because they were scared, the families that called and may not have had a great experience, and for the families that need someone to be a voice for those who cannot. I want to thank the officers that responded along with the EMTs. I also want to thank Sergeant Rhodes and Captain Ryan for coming to our last CPAC meeting. For those that do not know, it's a Special Education Parent Advisory Committee that is a subsidiary support of the Bayonne Board of Education that I am kind of leading the way for at the moment. They came and they spoke with the families about the processes they have in place for these situations. It seems that we are well equipped, but there are still areas that can be looked at for further improvement. One of the reasons why I'm here today is not only to advocate, but to stress the need for a registration system within our community, the Bayonne community. A system where families can voluntarily register themselves or a family member who may have special needs or mental health needs so that our first responders are as prepared as possible. It just becomes an open book test for them. Imagine a call comes in to address an individual. When the dispatcher opens their file, the officer knows what they're walking into. Imagine there's a fire. They know they're showing up to somebody who may not be able to communicate with them as everybody else. This does not only increase the morale and trust in the community, it can also save a life, and every one of these lives in this community matter. I know this comes with a cost, but so does doing nothing. We are in a time where mental health and special needs is a top priority, so let's make this a priority. I'm willing to provide support in my own time to help get this figured out. Lives depend on it. Let's make sure that we are never part of that statistic. Let's make sure Dante's name or no one's name ever ends up on that list. So I typically don't read so specifically like that, but I wanted to make sure my points are across. There are cities out there, Westfield is one of them, Cranford is one of them. There are cities doing this very successfully. I know it's a cost. I know it is. But it's a very easy thing that not only benefit our families, but the people, the responders that protect us on a daily basis and put their lives on the line. I think they also deserve a system where they can go into their jobs fully prepared. So please look into it. Please consider my requests. Please know I'm a partner, as much as I disagree with many things. We're still partners in this, and I really hope you consider that. So thank you.
Thank you. And we agree, we have the best emergency services in the whole state.
Excuse me, Melissa, real quick. When you get a chance to, after the meeting's over, can you please see me? I'd like to ask you a few questions. I'm very concerned about that, and it's a very, very hot topic right now, and as a former police officer, so I'd like to get that from you. Thank you.
Do you have a specific name of like a training or a course?
I have the cities. I can more than likely put.
Come to the microphone.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I will gather the cities that have it. I think there's a few different systems that are in place. I don't know details as an emotional parent. I didn't do all the digging.
Okay.
I also don't want to overstep my boundaries. But again, remember I said I'm willing to help. I'll gather what I can.
Okay.
And
We'll
we
take a
can-
look into it too, and after your discussion with Mr. Booker, he'll share with us some
Yes.
information as well.
I think it could be a great thing for everybody.
I agree.
So.
Thank you.
I mean, one more thing, like seniors with Alzheimer's or like, dementia, imagine they can be on that list too, so.
Okay. Thank you.
06 is an ordinance for introduction. It is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 24, Water and Sewer Services. And a resolution moved by Councilmember Booker fixing Wednesday, October 16th at 6 p.m. in the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for public hearing and final passage. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On that ordinance introduction, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
07 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, providing for a special emergency appropriation of $4 million, providing for the payment of contractual required severance liabilities resulting from layoffs and retirement of employees. And a resolution moved by the Council President fixing Wednesday, October 16th at 6 p.m. in the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for public hearing and final passage. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
08 is a bond ordinance introduced by the council as a whole, providing for the acquisition of certain real property from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and the construction of a ferry pier and dock improvements on a portion thereof, and appropriating $6 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $6 million bonds or notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, and authorized in and by the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey. And a resolution, like I said, is moved by the council as a whole,
Yeah.
fixing Wednesday, October 16th,
We'll
and the
keep-
Dorothy E. Harrington
keep it
as a
as a
council,
whole. That's
time and place for a public hearing and final passage. And on that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
I think this is very important for our town. I think it keeps us progressing forward, and many, many people are going to use this, and I'll vote aye.
09 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic, for restricted parking zones. And a resolution moved by, who'd like to move the resolution? Ms. Weimer is
Move
not
it.
here.
Second.
Resolution fixing Wednesday, October 16th at 6 p.m. in the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for public hearing and final passage. And on that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
010 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, approving the redevelopment plan for 15-21 East 23rd Street, which is identified as Block 198, Lots 1 and 2, as shown on the official tax map of the City of Bayonne pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. And a resolution, who'd like to move the resolution for public hearing?
Second.
Fixes Wednesday, October 16th, as a time and place for public hearing and final passage. On that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
11 and 12 have been withdrawn. Consent resolution is moved by the council as a whole. It orders the following communications to be received and filed. It covers C1 through C9. Any questions on the communications? On the communications, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Officers' reports is a resolution moved by the council as a whole, ordering the following officers' reports to be received and filed, and any resolutions incorporated within them to be adopted. It covers OR1 through OR5. Questions on the officers' reports?
Mike?
Which one?
OR3.
Okay. So on the remaining officers' reports, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Come on up, Mike.
I'm just curious, the waterfront walkway Phase 3, what does that entail?
It's down at the base. Well, Joe, come on. Joe Skillender is here. He can speak to that. But it's the walkway that takes you along the,
yeah.
around the peninsula.
Right, I know where it is in your Phase 3, and then I know later on in the
Well,
agenda,
there's not going to
Phase
be,
2.
there's not going to be an award this evening because we have to figure out the financing for it. But we did take the bids in. There were several bids submitted. And we'd be prepared to enter if we had the money lined up. We would be prepared to award a contract. But we put it out for bid. We got responses from potential bidders. We'll probably be awarding it in December, November or December.
What, I'm just curious, what section is the Phase 3, I believe here?
So for this section, this would be a portion of next to Lidl and LA Fitness.
The LA Fitness on going
upwards,
east.
connecting that, and then past that, it's going to be in front of the land that Borai is going to develop, and then the portion of the city that where the ferry terminal will be. So that would be Phase 3 of the walkway.
Okey dokey.
So.
Thank you.
Okay.
And on OR3, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Consent resolutions is moved by the council as a whole, ordering the following resolutions to be adopted. It covers CR1 through CR23. CR22 has been withdrawn. Any
I would
questions?
just note that CR 19, in the summary, it said 152 Avenue C, it should be Avenue B, and there's going to be an annual cost of $200, not a one-time fee of $500.
Go ahead. Which one?
CR20 and CR20.
Any other questions on the consent resolutions? Okay, so on the remaining consent resolutions, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And again, on the walkway and the Hudson River Water Walkway, payments in lieu of is,
Sure. So actually, just for the record, CR21 should be Hackensack River, not Hudson River. But for the payment in lieu, pursuant to the New Jersey DEP regulations, there's supposed to be a continuous walkway from the George Washington Bridge to the Bayonne Bridge. But because of Bayonne's uniqueness, especially along Constable Hook, you really can't build, or nor do you want to really build a walkway around the tanks specifically, or Global, for instance, because they're active, industrial sites. So, in order so improvements could be made elsewhere along the Hudson River, in order to achieve the objectives of building the walkway, we accept the payment in lieu, subject to the approval of the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. So.
okay. And on the other, the
Yeah.
Peninsula Walkway, waterfront walkway, to go back to that one, is it possible when they do this walkway extension, can they get a kayak launch in that walkway somehow?
I mean, we could look into it. Again, the design standards are set by the state, so they'd have to
Right.
receive
Just-
a waiver for that on the design standards. But it's something we could look into.
There'd be a good kayak launch for the New York Bay area
Yeah.
from the Bayonne Cove. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so on CR20, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
CR21, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R1 is awarding a contract to All American Ford for the purchase of one 2024 Ford Transit 250 or equivalent for the total amount of $53,146.
Move it.
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R2 has been withdrawn. R3 is a resolution of the City of Bayonne in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, determining determining the form and other details of its note relating to the Transportation Bank Short-Term Loan Program of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank to be used in the principal amount of up to $1,699,701, and providing for the issuance and sale of such notes to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, and authorizing the execution and delivery of such notes by the City of Bayonne in favor of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, all pursuant to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank's Bank Short-Term Loan Program. I'd like to move it.
Move it.
Second.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R4 is a resolution of the City of Bayonne in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, declaring its intent to reimburse expenditures for the project costs for the proceeds of debt obligations of the city, including in connection with the participation in the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. Who'd like to move it?
Move it.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R5 is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a right of entry access agreement with Cumberland Mutual Fire Insurance Company, its contractors, and/or its agents on behalf of the former homeowner of 28 North Bay Court to enter into the city's right-of-way within the sidewalk located on the north side of North Bay Court in front of 26, 28, and 30 North Bay Court for the purpose of remediation and excavation activities resulting from a leaking oil tank at 28 North Bay Court.
Move it.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R6 is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an access agreement with MCR 52 Route 440 Lot 6 LLC for the purpose of conducting a soil boring investigation and groundwater monitoring along the west side boundary of the city's property designated as Block 452.02 Lot 4.
Move it.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R7 is authorizing a sidewalk and street closures for parts of Avenue F, East 23rd Street, and Avenue G in accordance with the letter from Connor Hughes of Dynamic Traffic.
So moved. Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R8 is accepting the right-of-way dedication along East 23rd, East 22nd, and Avenue G.
So moved. Second.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
9, 10, 11, and 12 have been withdrawn. And I have a few add-ons, which is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic, and a resolution fixing Wednesday, October 16th, and the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for a public hearing. This is for a safety zone at East 46th Street on Broadway.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Another ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, State of New Jersey, authorizing the City of Bayonne to enter into a real estate purchase agreement and all other documents necessary for and related to the purchase of certain real property and the construction of certain infrastructure improvements within. And a resolution fixed on Wednesday, October 16th, and the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for public hearing and final passage.
And that's the ordinance that will authorize us to enter into the contract with the Port Authority for the ferry site.
And
Can we
on
do that as a whole?
Sure. And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And one last final one, maybe, is authorizing the Director of the Department of Planning, Zoning, and Development and the Director of the Law Department to negotiate and enter into a purchase and sale agreement with the property owner for the acquisition of the property located at 442 Avenue C, which is identified as Block 225, Lot 45, as shown on the official tax map.
And that, for everybody, is, earlier this year, we purchased the property at 440 Avenue C. There's a park, an urban park between 19th and 18th, I think it is, on Avenue C. And it was 50% owned by one entity and 50% owned by another entity. We purchased the downtown side, 440, back in March, I believe. And this will complete the purchase from the other owner, Nat Realty Company, so that we will own the park outright as the city of Bayonne.
Very, very happy to see this. Lloyd, did you want to make a comment about how happy you are?
Yes, real quick, I'm excited. It's a long time coming. We've talked about it. The neighborhood has been asking quite a bit about that park. They've grown up. It hasn't had any upgrades in quite some time. And the recent fire that we just had right next door, I think it's going to be a good addition. The young lady, the child that lost her life, used to play in that park. So keep that in mind. And a lot of neighborhoods, children still use that park, and it needs to be upgraded and handicap accessible. And I'm really excited for it, and I'm glad to be part of that. Thank you.
And having owned a building very close to that, I see the need. The kids love playing in there, and it makes it a little easier and accessible for us to actually own the property outright, to actually refurbish it and make it great. And anybody who knows what the council and the mayor has been, one of our things that we want to do is refurbish all the parks. So we're getting closer to completion, but we still have a few left. And I was down last week with Mr. Cotter and our engineers, and we were looking at Russell Golding Park uptown, and there's a lot of renovations coming for that as well. But I'm very happy to see this park get those, to purchase it and have the plans to renovate it.
Real quick, I just want to say everybody that's involved, and I have to acknowledge Mr. Connor, director, who actually I bugged him quite a bit, and he was very, very kind. And all he said to me was, be patient, and it paid off. Thank you, Tom.
Don't give him a swelled head.
Well, I gotta give it to him in a minute, right now.
So on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
I have nothing further. With nothing further, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And on the motion to adjourn, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Aye.